Hello, I'm Kimberly Pierce Cartwright, Director of Kindred Spirits, a convergence of African American quilters in Durham, North Carolina. The event will take place June 19th, 20th, and 21st in Durham, North Carolina in the Convention Center downtown. Conference registration is open, but hurry, there are only a few spots left. Teachers include collage artist Judy Bowman and Lithia Edwards. Quilting artists include Cookie Washington, Candace Thomas, and April Anu. Participants are asked to make a quilt for the pop-up quilt show Space and Time, Quilting Afrofuturism, that will open on Friday, June 20th. For more information and to register for the conference, go to rcwms.org. That's rcwms.org. We're looking forward to seeing you there.
Hello, Stitchers. Welcome to Stitch Please, the official podcast of Black Women Stitch, the sewing group where Black Lives Matter. I'm your host, Lisa Woolfork. I'm a fourth-generation sewing enthusiast with more than 20 years of sewing experience. I am looking forward to today's conversation, so sit back, relax, and get ready to get your stitch together. Hey friends, hey, it's Lisa from Black Women Stitch and the Stitch Please podcast. And as I say every week, this is a very special episode because this episode, we are talking about the Met Gala 2025 theme inspired by Dr. Monica L. Miller's book, Slaves to Fashion, on the Black Dandy. And we are going to talk about it with two wonderful experts, two different directions, two gorgeous strands of expertise, and we are going to get our stitch together today thanks to Julian Collins and Kristine McPartlin. Starting with Kristine. Kristine is the mind behind Mind the Force podcast, a Star Wars podcast that also will help you understand different mental health challenges through the narrative of Star Wars. She is also a graduate of the Fashion Institute of Technology, where she studied costume design and costume preservation. And she will say more about that. Welcome, Kristine. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Lisa. I'm very excited to be here.
We are also fortunate to have Julian Collins, and y'all might know him as Julian Creates. He is on all the social platforms, helping you get your stitch together left, right, and center. Sometimes you might even see him at the Bonita dealership, not in real life, but like I do when I go into the Bonita dealership and there's a giant poster of Julian selling them people's most expensive serger with the smile on his face, looking so nice. Beautiful locks, fire glasses, and an outfit he has made. Welcome, Julian Collins. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
I am just so glad to have you both, and thank you. To begin, what were your thoughts when you first heard that the Met Gala was going to be themed after the Black Dandy? What was your first reaction?
I mean, I loved it. I found that something that happens a lot in like museum studies is you look at something like the Met Gala and it's going to be so like about the Met Gala and the people on the red carpet and all of that very visual like forward marketing is important. But it's about an exhibition, and it's like, well, what's the exhibition about? And sometimes people don't even know. Like they don't even know. And I think it's really cool that this is the theme that they picked, that it's such an important narrative to tell. The history of the Black Dandy. It's a really rich and interesting history, and that is just going to be such an academic and information dense exhibition. I think it's going to be so rich in the history, and people are going to learn so much, and that it actually does translate really well to the red carpet. I'm like, what looks are they going to show up with? It's a really nice marriage. Sometimes like they're a bit of a reach. What was it last year? Something pretty.
Karl Lagerfeld. It was Karl Lagerfeld.
Was it? Was Karl Lagerfeld the last? All right, then it was the one before that I was like, You're reaching. It was something. So was it American Beauty?
Oh yes, American Beauty. It was American. It was Camp first, and then it was American Beauty. So American Beauty was before Karl Lagerfeld last year.
Yes, that's the one where it was just very vague. And I love that the exhibition was a lot about like archival history and it's like, this is the stuff we don't get to bring out. These are like the beautiful, delicate things. Like working in conservation, there really are things that you just have to put in a box because there's nothing else you can do with it. You can't put it on. Don't wear it.
That's true.
And so I do love that was the highlight of the exhibition. But then then the red carpet didn't make sense. Then people interpret things and it's strange interpretations. So I love how on the nose this is. I love how rich it's going to be. I love the looks that will be served. So I'm excited.
I really love that too. And I appreciate especially what you described about how academic it's going to be, how well researched it is, because the book is incredibly thoroughly researched. So in terms of not having a backbone for an exhibition, that is not what this is. I'm imagining she's trying to figure out what to include, in addition to, because there's so much to choose from. I'm a nerd, so I love academic stuff. Absolutely, yes. But I also would like to turn to Julian, not because Julian is not an academic. Julian has been studying the Black Dandy in particular because of his own interests as a sewing influencer, the convener of a sewing group called So Manly on Facebook. He's also designing patterns for menswear. And he does a lot of archival study of patterns from the 19th and 18th and 19th century. And he's like a walking archivist.
I love it.
And he absolutely is. And an artist. And so I'm curious, Julian, what was your first reaction and what are you most excited about?
So I, of course, was excited because this is the first time the Met Gala is focusing on like a more masculine style of presentation for a theme, but then with it being so Black forward, really just spoke to my heart, and it really helped me feel seen as an individual who loves color, who loves to stand out. It really spoke to me. And I'm just excited to see how it's interpreted by the designers, and I'm hoping to see especially new Black designers on the carpet. Sadly, because this is a corporate event. So this is a fundraiser and corporations buy the tables, mostly LVMH, who is one of the main sponsors through one of the hosts, Pharrell Williams. But I think there are so many other tailors and designers that can be fully highlighted here and really allowed to shine with this theme that I'm hoping really does show up.
And I remember, I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before, that someone bought a table and donated it so that some new and up and coming designers could participate and could be in the mix and have that kind of, representation and exposure. So, and I think I can't remember how much the tables, is it like $700,000 for it? I mean, it's some very large number that I consider large for a dinner. And the chicken better not be rubbery. I'd be so mad if I didn't pay $750,000 and you're giving me chicken y'all could have got from Costco and it would have been better. I would be so upset.
Well, supposedly, because this event is highly exclusive and we never really see photos from inside the event. We never really see the food.
Unless it's in the bathroom.
That part. But that's a tradition now that we see these pictures.
Right, you see the bathroom selfies.
But supposedly they have the Michelin star chefs who will be on the grills and doing the food. But how is it going to tie in? I'm very curious. Right. And not be a caricature. That's going to be important.
Exactly. And it's a delicate balance.
And that's why I was appreciative that they weren't saying go dress like your favorite Black dandy. They were saying the theme being super fine and about tailoring techniques or the techniques that result in what we see as the finest of well-crafted garments. in a menswear style. Now, I did listen to an interview with Dr. Monica Miller, and she was saying that she does not believe that that there are no women dandies. She does believe that there were. It's just that they were harder to find in the archives, and that she has subsequent work that has talked about women and women's presentation out in the world. But that's going to be different than how men are able to move. But it's a way of expanding, like keeping the core value of the proposition or the provocation, even, and also expanding it so that people don't feel like they have to show up in blackface. That is what I mean.
That part.
It could happen.
It did not happen.
Huh? It bet not. It bet not. It bet not. It bet not. But I feel
someone's
like
gonna do something to make you be like,
no, I really hope not, because
I hope not to that extent.
This is really about like crafting something thoughtful, ostentatious, depending on how you define dandy. I think that Dapper Dan was even thinking about that there's like I think he called it sweatsuit dandy, like dandy through the lens of leisure wear, So what are y'all thinking you might see, or what comes to mind when you were if you were asked to design an outfit or a celebrity you would want to dress for this event? What do you imagine you would put them in, Kristine? And then I'm not going to ask Julian that question, because Julian is actually outfitting himself and working on a sewing challenge we're going to absolutely talk about. But Kristine, what about you in terms of what we imagine, what you imagine the Black Dandy to be? What does that garment, what is that whole, it's not about one garment. What does the look like?
Oh, I mean, even as you asked it, I had like a few faces running through my mind. Like I'm thinking like Domenico Coleman, or even like
Coleman Domingo, you mean?
Yeah, Coleman Domingo. Thank you.
Yes,
mix that up.
That's he's on my list as well.
Oh my God, him in something involving a cape. Like I can see that, but I can also see like Zendaya with her hair slicked back in a zoot suit, and I can also like, I don't know, there's so many fun ways to take it, because I think what's cool about the concept of the Black Dandy is how that changes over time.
Mm-hmm.
And what we consider, like you considered tailored suits, but you also consider, like if you go back far enough, like you consider like a tailcoat, you consider a justiciar. Then as you move into like the 70s, like you think about like a beautiful well-kept afro with like chest out with the silk shirt. Like you move into the 90s and you have like the looks like the Dapper Dan, like, and so I think that'll be fun just to see how people play with these different eras. Like there's no single look. Like I think there's a lot to play with, and I think that will be a really fun aspect to see how people get those interpretations, because there's no shortage of inspiration.
Right. There is no shortage of inspiration. And Julian has been spearheading a wonderful initiative in the sewing community. Julian, can you tell us about this and how it came to be?
Absolutely. So I have been looking forward to this Met Gala since they announced it, to the point where I have been talking about it. I read Dr. Monica Miller's book so that I can get a full understanding and grasp for what's going on. I've written articles. I have articles in Love Story magazine about this event, from predictions as well as kind of giving a overview and history of what we might see. And I really wanted to create a challenge to really help sewists in the community to rise to the occasion. So I started the So Tailored for You challenge based off of the dress code of Tailored for You, the Met Gala this year. So between now and this is the first Monday in May, you have a chance to kind of show your wares. And it does not have to be a tailored garment, because it really is more than just about the tailoring that you might see and like suiting. It's really about how's it tailored towards your expression. How's it tailored to who you are, and about the visibility, especially in the world that we are in today, which is important. So even if you want to create a quilt, if you want to do accessories, a bag or something like that, how are you adding your expression into it and elevating your sewing in the moment?
Hey friends, hey, I know you're enjoying the audio version of Stitch Please, and thanks so much for listening. But you're missing out on all the great stuff going on behind the scenes. That's why I'm inviting you to join our Black Women Stitch Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you can see all the video versions of the podcast. Plus, you get some amazing swatch cards. You know how much I love these swatch cards. Look, see how cool these are? Oh wait, you can't see them because you are not yet on the Patreon. So when you join the Patreon, you'll be able to see this, me showing you these amazing cards. We also have some great perks at the other tiers, like discounts, swag, office hours, and more. Don't be the last sewist in the group now. Head over to patreon.com/blackwomenstitch or click the link in the show notes and become a Patreon supporter today. We truly cannot do this without you. So thank you so much. What I really appreciate about that is that Tailored for You speaks directly to the construction of the Black Dandy and the way that the way that Black dress has almost always been a sign for us to preserve our dignity, to like I think Dr. Miller was talking about that enslaved people would, if there was a shell or a button that they found or something like that, they would put it on their own garment as a way to embellish and decorate, because that just felt like a nice thing to do for yourself, to signal something about your creativity or whatever you wanted it to mean. Whatever, when you
Absolutely.
put it on, it was tailored for you. And
Absolutely.
that's what couture is. That's what it means when you are making something that really is made. It's so made for you that it wouldn't fit anyone else. It is so tailored for you that it is thoroughly yours. And even if somebody else took it and tried to put it on, I would say, oh, that's Julian's. I remember Julian made that jacket. I think it was last Easter. I remember that jacket, and I think it's absolutely the case that clothing, especially for African Americans, has been one of the many ways that we have tried to mitigate the Black tax.
Absolutely.
And there's lots of ways that we try to mitigate the Black tax, whether you code switch, whether you live in a certain neighborhood so that you could have a certain zip code that entitles you to certain benefits, whether you send your kid to this school versus that school. All of this is designed, or even what you name your child, all of that is designed in the minds of many to make things easier, to just make it easier. But the Tailored for You is also not just making it easier. It's also a lot of joy. It's a lot of
Absolutely.
fun. It's a lot of, excitement around how one puts a look together. So, Julian, do you feel comfortable sharing what your idea is? And should I imagine that you only have one?
Well, of course, the ideas are ever evolving. So this challenge is also doing double duty to make my outfit for Atlanta Frock Sales, which is on May 3rd, at
Okay.
Top Stitch Atlanta. And what's great about that is that the theme is Alice in Atlanta Land. So that Alice in Wonderland with
Yes.
an Atlanta theme.
Beautiful,
So
I love
beautiful.
that. I
it
love
just
that.
brings up Black culture to me. So
Yes.
I am thinking Mad Hatter, um, and Logomania Dapper Dan style mixed together.
Ooh.
So bright colors, but beautiful
Oh my
tailoring because this
gosh.
is really about silhouette for me. So I'm thinking very much
Yes.
1920s men's suiting. So kind of high
Okay.
waisted but slim fit, with a frock
Yes.
coat. I'm trying to decide if it's going to be a
Okay.
vest or a corset. We don't know yet.
Oh, of course.
Interesting. I did
Ooh,
a
the brain is tingling. I
I
love
did,
that.
and I think you have the vintage patterns, but I have costume patterns, and I did make for my child. I forgot what he wanted to be. I think he said he wanted to be like an evil businessman. I don't know what his,
Mm,
but it required him to wear a frock coat
yep.
with tails, and it was a birder pattern that had it, and the guy was wearing a vest too and a hat, and
Mhm.
my
I
son was
think
like, "That's him. That's
I think
him."
like Scrooge McDuck should
Scrooge
definitely be
McDuck.
on your vision
Yes,
board.
yes,
Should
Scrooge
definitely be on your
McDuck.
vision board.
It was 100% Scrooge McDuck. That's what the baby wanted. I think he even had a cane. It was very interesting.
Love it.
So I'm
But
thinking
Ooh,
like
Kane.
Joker, like the '90s Joker, but in
ooh,
this style of suiting. Like, so I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do more of a frock coat, so like a long suit jacket, or if I'm
can
actually
we
going to
talk
do like
colors?
tails.
Can we talk colors?
Yeah, we
I
should
would.
definitely
We
do
Can we
can.
talk
tails.
about colors?
We can.
I am seeing so many things because this could also do triple duty. I could imagine that this could be, you're making it for Atlanta Frogtails, but it could be something, say you go to the theater, not the theater, you go to the theater,
It might
and
be a
you
lot for
need
the
to,
theater
but
because I've
I'm
already
just
bought
saying,
fabric. Fabric has been
oh,
purchased,
okay, okay,
Ooh,
and
okay.
because
So
remember, I'm
is it
doing
a brocade? Is it a brocade?
it's a
better be a
jacquard.
brocade.
It's a
It's a
jacquard,
jacquard.
Ooh, it's gonna be so.
and it
Is it
is.
really slubby? Is it slubby or not slubby?
It's not slubby, but it is logomania. It is Gucci
Oh,
Mm.
oh,
jacquard.
Ooh, okay, Gucci
Yeah.
man. Like,
Gucci inspired jacquard. Let's put it that way. Gucci inspired
yes.
jacquard, and it's
okay.
rainbow.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
I love the
Are you having
brightness.
the hat made, or are you making it yourself? Like, do you have that like millinery skill at all? Like,
So I'm trying to decide that and where I want. So I have the jacket will be out of this jacquard. The shirt
Ooh,
or the pants and the vest, I have different colors of suiting coming in. Some in like a salamander
mm,
orange, some in like a shamrock
ooh.
green that can kind of coordinate with the colors in the rainbow
yeah,
jacquard. So
yeah.
I'm
Well, it
trying
gives
to
you options,
decide.
which is nice.
Exactly. I'm trying to decide if I want to use the jacquard to make the hat myself. I do have a pattern for it. Or
Okay.
if I want to just get a nice colored hat to go with it. So we're still trying to
Or
decide on that
Oh
piece.
no. Oh, I
or if
think you
you get
should.
it if you get it custom made, send the fabric to the hat maker and see if they'll use your
Yeah,
fabric.
they'll make it. I was gonna say, like, you can get that, and you can have them do something interesting, and that could also be another fun way to incorporate like another black designer. Be like, hey, I'm designing this outfit. Do you want to design this hat?
That is a thought. That is a
Because
thought.
I mean, how many black hat makers can there be out there? I'm sure they need the clout.
There's that. So my mind is still going. We are still trying to figure all the pieces out, but I do know that the fabric, I should be getting fabric in next week. I
That's
have
exciting.
patterns.
That's
So we are
exciting.
trying, like I'm pulling patterns.
Even if you bought the hat, you could still add your own embellishments as
Oh
well.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
you can
could
add
take
brooches. There
that
should be a lot of brooches
yeah,
in
and
this
then the
outfit.
same band, you could make a band from the jacquard, the Gucci jacquard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you will have to keep like the Mad Hat. Like you will have to incorporate something
Oh,
that
that's
says
gonna be
Mad
so
Hatter.
fire.
Correct.
Because
Oh,
what's the
it's
card?
Correct.
Doesn't he put a card in his hat?
So there are cards. He is wearing like a cockade or like one of those sashes made out of
oh,
spools of
wow.
thread in the
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
live action. So there's many different options that I have to go here, and that brings
Yeah,
in the sewing as well.
yeah,
yeah.
I
yes.
was
We
thinking
can get a
about even.
fire pocket watch.
I already
Pocket
have that.
watch.
Yeah, I have some pocket watches, so that's an option.
Love it.
I was thinking of even using like maybe some measuring tapes or something to bring in the sewing as
Yes,
well.
I would love that, like
Um,
a cord. You can make
Mm.
like a bouquet of a bunch of them,
yeah,
like a chrysanthemum or something like that. That could be
yeah.
super
Cute.
fun. Oh,
So
I
yeah, we
love
have
that.
options. We have options.
You
Right.
always do. You always do.
I am so excited to see where this goes.
I
Um,
I
Me
am
yeah,
too.
too.
you're getting a follow today because I got to see when this outfit drops.
This weekend, you will definitely be getting my inspiration. So slowly, I will be sharing the inspiration. And when the fabric comes in, we're sharing the process, which is always
Love
I
fun.
it.
love it.
Love
Today,
a process.
all the muslin, like so, I ordered a bolt of muslin, and the bolt of
Okay.
muslin is 100 yards of muslin came in today.
Nice.
So I have enough
Wow.
to practice with for a
More
while.
than enough. More than
Wow. Tell me, what is the decision point for corset versus no corset, or corset versus vest?
So the biggest thing, like the vest is it's about how low the vest will go because I definitely want to make sure that if the shirt will probably be see through, so I want to show a little
Mhm.
skin.
Yes, yes.
So trying to decide how low I want it to go and how high the pants rise, making sure that it is
Oh,
providing the right silhouette. So I'm looking at my different corset patterns compared to my vest to see which one I want to go with.
okay.
I
That
think
sounds great.
I think the corset could really add to the drama of the silhouette because if you're going for like the 1920s high-waisted, really cinched waist, like you could get that dramatic cinched waist with a corset. That could also kind of give vest. Like you can still have like the boning and the construction, but it could like give vest on the top if you still want that look while still being like functionally doing what you got to do.
So I have worked on a corset pattern, a corset vest for men, that I kind of altered to give the low like front that I like. So I might
Okay.
go
Mhm.
back to that pattern and do some tweaks to it
Okay.
to use that. I
Okay.
do have some other corset vest patterns. They're a little bit more high, like the necklines are higher than I want, so I might have to do some
Yeah.
alterations there.
Oh,
But
Right?
I
Get
have
some
some different
chest
options.
going.
that
Exactly,
sounds
because
Yeah.
so
the shirt will
amazing.
probably be see through. So trying
Yeah.
to blend
As
them
it
all
should
together.
be.
As it should, as it
Right?
should.
Don't deny the people what they want,
I
Julian.
know. Be kind. Be kind. All right, y'all. We are going to wrap up, and I am going to ask you all the last question that we tend to ask here on the Stitch Please podcast, and you can think about this in the context of the Met Gala and what people might want to think about as they're watching, or if they're making, or want to learn more. We can try to do it in the context of Black Dandyism. And again, shout out to Monica Miller for such a really wonderful book. The slogan of the Stitch Please podcast is that we will help you get your stitch together. I'm asking my guests this question. Julian Collins, what advice do you have to help us get our stitch together?
The advice that I have is to sew without fear and to use the fancy shit. It's time. Do not hold it any longer. Now more than ever, if it makes you happy, use it now. We don't know what tomorrow brings.
Cut the good fabric, y'all. All right, Kristine McPartlin, what advice do you have for us to help us get our stitch together?
Um I will advise people advice I have followed for many years. Uh and I think any good black dandy would agree. Never be afraid to be the best dressed person in the room.
And on
Mm.
that note, we are very grateful to have Julian Collins and Kristine McPartlin with us. Tell us where we can find you on the socials, Kristine.
So you can find the podcast Mind the Force at mindtheforce.com. You can check us out at on Instagram and Facebook, and you will find all of our live streaming episodes on your favorite podcast streaming platform.
Thank you. Julian Collins, where can we find you?
So you can find me on all platforms as Julian Creates. And I'm also have a podcast, the Audacity podcast with Aronica B. Cole. And you can find us on all streaming platforms for podcasts at the Audacity, TEA.
Excellent. Thank y'all so much again for being with me today. I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
You've been listening to Stitch Please, the official podcast of Black Women Stitch, the sewing group where Black Lives Matter. We appreciate you joining us this week and every week for stories that center Black women, girls, and femmes in sewing. We invite you to join the Black Women Stitch Patreon community with giving levels beginning at $5 a month. Your contributions help us bring the Stitch Please podcast to you every week. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. And come back next week and we'll help you get your stitch together.